I certainly want to get into this Big Ten scheduling model that we touched on last week, and then also the 1-2 seeds. We did hit on that last week. I get these shows confused. I think we did dive in on that. Steve, do you have any thoughts about what's being discussed? We've got, since you left, as you well know, the Pac-12 has decided divisions are gone. We're going with a 1 versus 2 matchup. We kind of lined up what those matchups would have looked like through the course of the Big Ten Championship Series going back to 2011, and about half the time it would have changed the championship game. Then we've got the ACC going out to a 3-5-5 model in which they designate 3 rivals, and then they rotate the other 10 teams in the conference every other year. Have any thoughts about what the Big Ten should do, or what you think they will do concerning championship game and scheduling?
Yeah, I don't have a real strong opinion. I know that Fox put out a graphic that said that had it been different, Ohio State and Michigan would have played each other twice in the last 11 years. Seriously, I don't think one of those would have been a year when they were 2 versus 3, because wasn't Iowa undefeated that season, perhaps, I think. So they would have gotten in ahead of Michigan, I guess, in that area. But, at any rate, yeah, I think purists will hate this because it could create Ohio State versus Michigan 2 weeks in a row if they keep Ohio State Michigan as the last game, which I think they would. And I think that winning the first game doesn't get you out of the woods. Obviously, you've got to come later, because the winner of the second game is the one that's going to get the benefit of the doubt for the playoff, or certainly the Rose Bowl, whatever. But, I know that's a secondary thought, but the playoff is what it's all about here in 2022 going forward. So I don't have a really big thought about it. I don't know if it helps anybody in the West anyway, because when you stop and think about it, you've got to be 8-0 anyway to make the Big Ten championship game out of the West most years, and either you are or you're not, and I don't think going away from divisions is going to open up more opportunities. In fact, it makes less opportunities for Wisconsin, Iowa, etc., to play for the championship. A conference trying to win a national championship, I think it makes the road to winning a national championship harder, because if Ohio State is 1 and Michigan is 3, and Ohio State beats Michigan, and then they have to play Wisconsin, who's 9, isn't that an easier road to the championship than having to beat Michigan, who's now dropped to number 5 and still better than Wisconsin, in the championship game? To me, I don't think that helps your cause of putting the best team into the championship game. I think that team has a chance to get knocked off, and your conference knocked out of the playoff altogether if you put them in harm's way again. So, or by having to play another tough game. But I don't know. I'm up in the air on it. I think the purists will hate it if it comes to that. I mean, you look at Texas, Oklahoma. They've had some rematches in recent years where one team won during the season and the other one won the championship game, and that's all anybody remembers is the one that won the championship game and went on to bigger and better things. So, I don't know. I'm up. I'll listen to whatever you guys think about it, but I could go either way, and I really don't. As long as Ohio State's there 4 out of every 5 years, like always, I'm good with it.
I think one of the aspects is that this is a way for the Big Ten to they want the automatic qualifiers, and one of the arguments against automatic qualifiers is like an 8-4 Northwestern coming in and beating an undefeated Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, and people don't want a team like that in the playoffs. This would essentially guarantee that won't happen. You won't necessarily have an 8-4 or a 7-5 team, and you'll have your 2 best teams. And Steve's right, though. It makes it harder for that number 1 team, but it gives you more of an opportunity for that second team. So I think they think it'll balance out, and it'll give two teams a legitimate chance, even though we've seen a second place East Division team make the playoffs. So we've seen that happen before. Ohio State in 2016, they didn't win a division and they still went. The CFP will take who they want, but I think this helps moving forward if they do it, which I think they will. Helps moving forward with the argument, the automatic qualifier argument, and if the Big Ten wants to keep their foot down on that aspect of it.
Yeah, I kind of gave my opinions last week, and I know not everybody's here from week to week, and I went back and forth 3 or 4 different times in the conversation, and honestly, I hadn't really given it any thought since I signed off the show last week. There are pluses and minuses certainly in the whole situation. As I said, my biggest thing is I just want to see parity from conference to conference in terms of how many conference foes you play. Are you playing FCS? What's going on? Because this has to be more of an apples to apples type of situation. So whether or not you're playing divisions, you're not playing divisions, that doesn't really enter my equation as much as 8 versus 9, 8 league games versus 9 league games, having that chicken bleep week, the week before your big rivalry game that's prevalent in the SEC. I think some of those things really need to be more on the forefront than whether or not going divisions or not. I mean, again, it's just really a matter of how you're shuffling the deck chairs, in my opinion.
And then
yeah, I like what Tony said. That makes sense. That that again, why would you make it more difficult? And secondly, on one hand, but on the other hand, you guarantee that you're putting a quality team into the playoff if that team wins the championship game.
And you increase your chances for getting both of them in as well.
Good point. Good point.
Absolutely. There are, if you're just trying to get the most teams in and guarantee that you get one team in the current 4-team playoff, you have to run through each and every year to see when it would have worked, when it would have helped or hurt at the same time. But I think generally it helps. And obviously the playoff is trying to negate the possibility that an 8-4 division champion pulls off an upset in the conference championship game and gets in.